Welcome to the Anime Audiophile Podcast. Enjoy. Sasuke Shinden, Book of Sunrise. Chapter 2 Part 3. Due to the sudden attack, the village of Konoha was in a state of commotion. They couldn't see a clear motive for the enemy. On top of that, there was the possibility of something similar happening in the future. Village security was enhanced, and a peculiar tension raced through the village. After she had used mind transmission to save Aoba from the Jinjutsu trap, the damage to Ino was greater than expected, and she was in the hospital for several days. Sasuke and Choji bought fruit and went to her hospital room to pay a visit to their childhood friend. Oh! Sai. When they went inside, they found Sai sitting on a chair, sketching, and Ino asleep on the bed. Hey! What? You came to visit, too? They peeked at Sai's sketchbook from behind, and saw he was drawing a flower. When they looked, there was indeed a dewy fresh flower in a vase by the window of the hospital room. You didn't actually bring that, did you? I guess Ino's mom brought it? Oh. She did? Noting that it wasn't like Sai to bring flowers, Shikamaru set the fruit down on the shelf. His gaze then shifted to the garbage can immediately next to the shelf. We're not gonna have any, Shikamaru? Choji asked. HM? Oh, Ino's sleeping. Just hold on. What? Choji's shoulders slumped in disappointment. He pulled a banana out of his clothes and shoved it in his mouth. Apparently, he had brought some fruit for himself, too. But he had used a secret ninjutsu and depleted his chakra and his fat stores, so it was no wonder he was trying to take in some extra calories. But this has turned into a serious drag, Shikamaru said, sitting down on an extra chair. It's not just Konoha, the same thing's happening in Kiri and Kumo. The evening the shinobi under the control of a Jinjutsu showed up in the village of Konoha, Kirigakure and Kumagakure had fought similar battles. The ninja who showed up in the other two villages had been a mix of Kiri and Kumo, and many of them had exploded. I'm glad we managed to send information to the other villages right away, so they could minimize the damage, but even so, they shared information via email. There were still more than a few ninja who resisted the shift to digital, but information that normally took a few days could be exchanged in an instant. They said that the mind-controlled ninja were basically people who had gone missing, right? I guess they can't say for sure, though. Kumo and Kiri are supposed to send over new documents, so the investigation moved forward in Konoha, too. They had confirmed that Tadachi and the others were ninja of the village, but they still hadn't fully gotten a full picture of the affiliation for the other villages. The Jinjutsu still hasn't been undone, huh? Choji said, eating his second banana. Considering the risk of explosion, the people under the Jinjutsu were being kept in a facility a little ways from Konoha. Treatment was proceeding under Sakura's supervision, but the medical ninja were still racking their brains as to how to deal with the suspicious chakra circulating in the victims' bodies. Just in case, they had shinobi from the Nara clan and the Hyuga clan permanently stationed there. Shikamaru himself had just come from being on duty there. Sakura said she could almost see a way in, though. But I mean, talking about this in a person's sick room, we can't help ourselves, huh? What Ino needed now was rest. They couldn't cause a commotion and interfere with that. Shikamaru stood up and looked down at Sai, who was indifferently sketching his flowers, not bothering to get involved in their conversation. Sai, what are you going to do? I've got nothing going on. Once I draw a picture I'm satisfied with, I'll go home. Sai grinned at Shikamaru. It was a strange thing to sit and sketch in a hospital room when you were supposed to be visiting the sick person, and even more so to say you were going to go home once you drew something good. But as if accepting Sai's words, Shikamaru looked at the garbage can. Several unfinished drawings had been tossed in there. After they left Ino's room, they walked down the hall, and Shikamaru muttered, I just don't get it. You don't get what? Oh, it's like, when they had first met, Shikamaru hadn't felt any emotion in that smile that rose up onto Sai's face. But such an enormous change that had come over him. You never knew what was going to happen in life. Looking at the evasive Shikamaru, Choji started laughing. Well, you're like that, you know, Shikamaru. That? What do you mean, that? Come on, I mean, you were all like flowers, weren't you? You know what? Just forget it. Shikamaru interrupted whatever Choji was trying to say and left the hospital. As he narrowed his eyes at the dazzling sunlight, a single hawk passed across his field of view. Shikamaru recalled how Sakura looked after many sleepless days and nights of treating people. I wonder what we're going to do with them. The face of Sakura came to life in the back of his mind, empty eyes filling with tears when Danzo gave permission to eliminate the deserter Sasuke, and the thought came to him abruptly. Was that thoughtless? Shikamaru? HM? Oh, it's nothing. The first one to notice the hawk flying directly down to the Hokage's office was Naruto, as he took up the papers that had just arrived from Kirigakure and Kumagakure. Master Kakashi, it's Sasuke's hawk. Naruto raced over to the window and invited the hawk into the room. Oh, something from Sasuke? Perfect timing. Ever since the attack on Konoha, Kakashi had been swamped with village business and communications with the other villages, but he had been just thinking he should really get in touch with Sasuke. He took the letter from the hawk. What's he say? He's apparently caught this band of thieves called the Dark Thunder Group that was attacking villages in the Land of Steam. The leader has a Kekkei. Sasuke had written that he wanted the Hokage's judgment. At any rate, it was in the Land of Steam. It was hard to decide whether to lead it to Yugakure to handle, or to have Konoha take charge of it. We'll have to get in touch with Yugakure about this. Kakashi made plans in his head. No word for anyone in his letters, as usual. Naruto cackled, looking somehow delighted. Maybe he was happy with what Sasuke was up to. All right. Can't lose out to that guy. For Naruto, Sasuke was an eternal rival. This had apparently lit a fire under him. He picked up the papers once more and began flipping through them. Amongst the documents were pictures of kidnapped ninja in this case. In the old days, they likely wouldn't have been given this sort of information. The villages would have hidden it to keep it from being leaked to other villages. Knowing that it was precisely now that the squabbling amongst the 5 great nations had disappeared that they could cooperate like this, Kakashi shifted in his chair and went to write a letter to Yugakure. Naruto cocked his head to one side. What is it, Naruto? There's nothing on this one person. Nothing? What do you mean? I mean, there's no paperwork for one of the controlled ninja. Naruto made this declaration even though he had only just glanced at the documents. He may have been rough around the edges, but Naruto had his clever side. He often found a path to solving the issue at hand. Naruto, could you double-check to be sure there's no mistake? Kakashi asked. I'm telling you. Naruto shouted and jumped out the open window. Medical equipment had been brought to a facility a short distance from the village, and medical ninja were handling things there 24 hours a day. Naruto? Sakura, who was continuing to treat the ninja, noticed Naruto right away when he stepped inside. He could see exhaustion in her face. In addition to being charged with these lives, if she made one wrong move, there could be an explosion, with many more lives sacrificed. She couldn't relax her focus for even a second. And beside Sakura was another familiar face. Naruto. Hinata. Oh, right, you were on guard today. There's that, too, Hinata said, looking at Sakura. I'm trying something right now, right? Sakura said. So I borrowed the power of the Byakugan. Anyway, what's going on? Oh. I was actually just looking at the documents on the missing ninja. Naruto explained to the women that there was a ninja without any documentation. I see. So who is it? Sakura looked around the room, partitioned off into smaller units. As if searching for an answer, Naruto peeked in on the ninja in each room, one at a time. This guy. The ninja he finally found was a man in his late 20s. For some reason, he was in a room a ways off from the other ninja. Hearing this from Naruto, the look on Sakura's face changed abruptly. "What's wrong?" he asked. "Compared with the other ninja, there's relatively little of the foreign chakra circulating in his body. So I tried working to eliminate that, and it looks like we might succeed soon." What Sakura was apparently saying was that she and Hinata had grasped the exact location of the foreign chakra circulating in the body, and that she was removing it with medical ninjutsu without making any wounds. But that this man alone would have no papers. He couldn't possibly be connected to the ringleader? Hinata stared at the man. Thinking about it, it makes sense that only he would have less foreign chakra. Because he alone didn't need to be controlled. Sakura exhaled as if to calm her mind, and looked at the man. "I'm still going to continue the treatment." "Got it," Naruto said. It was Sakura's dedication as a medical ninja. If she succeeded, they might be able to save the other ninja, too. She restarted the treatment, and once Naruto had finished relaying this to Kakashi, he came back to watch over it again. Beads of sweat popped up on the foreheads of Sakura and Hinata. "This is the last bit," Hinata said, chasing after the flow of chakra. "Arriving at the brachial artery." "Understood." Sakura's chakra arrived at the blood vessels inside the man and saw the problematic chakra. Paying the utmost care to not causing any injuries, she removed the chakra and then looked at Hinata for confirmation. Hinata looked through every nook and cranny of the man's body and then nodded firmly. The foreign chakra circulating within their patient had been completely removed. "Nice work, you guys," Naruto said, and Sakura smiled brightly, while Hinata looked bashful. "But now what are we going to do?" Sakura asked, wiping away her sweat. "Did Master Kakashi say anything?" "Hang on a sec." Naruto shot out of the room. "Hey! It worked!" Aoba walked into the room, now finally recovered from losing consciousness when caught in the Jinjutsu trap. "Aoba, are you alright?" Sakura asked. "Thanks to you," Aoba replied, adjusting his sunglasses. "But what are you doing here?" "I asked the Hokage to let me try one more time." "Try? You mean you're going to read him?" "Yes." Aoba probably couldn't just let things stand the way they were. Hinata seemed worried. "We've erased all the chakra that was circulating in his body, but the Jinjutsu trap might still be there." "It's okay," Aoba replied. "I've already experienced it once, so I know what it feels like when the Jinjutsu trap activates. If it seems dangerous, I'll pull out right away." It seemed a little uncertain, but given that he had already gone through it once, it might indeed go well this time. And they urgently needed to find out how this man with no papers was involved in the incident. "Here I go, then." Aoba reached a hand out to the man's forehead and sent his consciousness flying inside. "Okay." When Aoba got inside and opened his eyes, there was an enormous brain enshrined there. He looked at his surroundings, but there was no Red Sea waiting to swallow him up. This time for sure. Still on guard, he reached into the brain. He began to see a scene. It was night. The man was standing on a cliff, waves crashing against it. A slender young man stood directly in front of him. The first man called to this boy, "Boss." The boy called Boss did not look back. "It's been a long time since Bright Lightning was disbanded," the man said, almost talking to himself. "That Karyu, he's made a new group, Dark Thunder, and he's running wild. He's maybe turning his hatred on the people in the villages. So we can't actually live on the straight and narrow, after all." The sounds of waves approaching and receding. Regret bled out onto the man's face. "I want to say goodbye to this world already. But, if I'm going to die, it'll be after I get revenge on the shinobi." The man's fist was trembling. Revenge on the shinobi. There was no reason for a ninja of Kiri or Kumo to say something like that. They were probably right to assume that this man was one of the criminals behind this incident. Amuda. For the first time, the boy spoke. Amuda. Probably the name of the owner of this memory. Will you die for the sake of this plan? Of course. Amuda nodded. I'll set off a great big final fireworks. The boss slowly turned around. Amuda. I will not waste your death. This boy was the ringleader. Aoba was convinced of it. He strained his eyes and tried to get a good look at his face. But the blue sea spreading out before him suddenly changed color. It wasn't just the ocean, the sky, the trees, everything started to turn red. Damn it! Aoba hurriedly escaped from the man's mind. Aoba! Are you all right? Sakura and Hinata both ran over to him as he pulled his hand off Amuda's forehead and stepped back, almost running away. It was another Genjutsu trap. To read anything further is going to be hard without taking a lot of time and effort. But this time, I did get something. Really? Do you know who the enemy is? This guy's name is Amuda, Aoba said, getting his breathing under control. He wants revenge on the shinobi. Revenge on the shinobi? Yeah. So was that why he had attacked the village? And his boss was there. I guess they used to be in an organization called Bright Lightning. Bright Lightning. I wonder if we can find any information on them. Also, Aoba continued, their comrades who broke away are working under the name Dark Thunder. Dark Thunder? Naruto shouted, involuntarily. What? Do you know them? No, not really. A blue vein popped up on Sakura's forehead. What? You got our hopes up and everything, she shouted, brandishing a fist. No, but I mean, I've, heard that name somewhere. Naruto pushed his index finger firmly against his forehead and tried to remember. Naruto. Was someone talking to you about Dark Thunder? Hinata asked, timidly. Naruto gasped, suddenly finding the thread of the memory. Sasuke. Huh? What's Sasuke got to do with it? Sasuke's letter. Sasuke's hawk arrived at Master Kakashi's, and in the letter, he wrote something about taking down this group of thieves called Dark Thunder. In the attack by the Dark Thunder group, many of the people of the village of Takino had been injured and lost their homes, but those who could move were working hard at rebuilding. Using the bamboo growing in abundance around them, they mended the holes Kiryu's attack had made in their homes. Having had a taste of the terror of death, they were simply grateful to be alive at that point. In the middle of all this, Iou stayed locked up in his house, refusing to come out. The sun was setting and the villagers were turning in for the day when Sasuke checked in on the shed where the Dark Thunder members were being held to make sure nothing was out of the ordinary. You look like you're not happy about something. You okay? Chino asked. Having been dragged into this incident, Chino and Milwaukee were staying in the village and helping with the recovery. He didn't bother to answer her. You ignoring me again? Chino shook her head from side to side, with a roll of her eyes, and tossed something toward him. Wondering what it was, he caught it, and found a rice ball in his hand. Milwaukee told me to come give one to you. Her business there finished, Chino waved a hand and turned around. Hey! My name is not Hey. Chino turned around angrily. Tell him thanks, Sasuke said. Chino looked momentarily puzzled, but then replied, Roger. Once she had left, Sasuke pressed a hand to his own face. Did he really look troubled? He slipped out through the bamboo grove to put some distance between himself and the village, and slumped down against the trunk of a tree with thick roots entangled in the ground. This incident had given him pause. Kiryu said he formed Dark Thunder after seeing Sasuke. People in this world were modeling themselves after Dark Sasuke and running around doing evil things. This was perhaps another link in the chain of hatred. Atonement, a journey to atone for his sins. However, once you made a mistake, Perhaps you could spend your whole life trying and still never be able to atone for it. Konoha popped up in the back of his mind. But he couldn't envision a Sasuke who could set foot on Konoha soil and live there. Perhaps this journey would never end. Girl. IOU showed himself from where he had been hiding deep inside the house after Chino returned, sat down, and started talking with Milwaukee. You sure you should be up, old man? What's going to happen to them? Them? Dark Thunder. Kiryu's punishment. IOU seemed to be able to think of nothing else. Milwaukee looked at him apologetically. After the Fourth Great Ninja War, there are fewer big battles, and the shinobi of the 5 great nations are also more lenient in all kinds of ways. And one of these, Konoha. I hear Sasuke's village is compassionate. It's hard to say for sure, but you can kinda sympathize with Kiryu's situation as a ninja. And Kirigakure is also involved, so Chino shrugged. They're not going to kill him? For IOU, this single point was crucial. Probably not, Chino answered, vaguely. They're not. IOU was silent for a moment. I'm going to go get some air, he said, and walked out of the house. Taking a break in the bamboo grove, Sasuke heard the familiar sound of a bird's wings flapping and lifted his face. The hawk he had sent to Konoha was returning. Had they decided on how to handle Dark Thunder? No, it's too soon for that. After the bird settled on his shoulder, Sasuke took the letter from it. And then he checked what it said. What? The letter noted the attack on Konoha, the fact that the matter of the missing ninja from the other day was involved, the fact that among the attackers, there was a ninja thought to be one of the people who planned the attack, also, the fact that this ninja previously belonged to an organization called Bright Lightning, and then he knew a man called Kiryu of Dark Thunder. Bright Lightning. That's the name of the group of chivalrous thieves Kiryu was in originally. There was a strong possibility that the leader of that Bright Lightning group was the ringleader behind the current attacks. Thus, Konoha wanted him to tell them about Kiryu and Dark Thunder. If he used the Sharingan, he could easily get the information they needed. What concerned him was the Jinjutsu used on the ninja, and the explosions. Over 100 ninja under the Jinjutsu had appeared at Konoha, Kiri, and Kumo. Controlling that many people at once was no ordinary feat. One of the conspirators, Amuda, had been part of it, but that was probably a persuasive type technique. He had no doubt that there had been a ninja like Amuda among the attackers at both Kiri and Kumo as well, but they had exploded early on. Mixing ninja from the village and ninja from other villages was likely a device to prevent that irregularity from being noticed. They had been able to find it in Konoha because they had been able to save all the ninja under the Jinjutsu except the Konoha shinobi. Jinjutsu and adjoining technique. What jutsu had they used exactly? Did this mean that the ninja they caught had somehow changed his own troops and sent them off? Sasuke gasped. It was almost like Kaguya. The image of White Zetsu connected to the divine tree came back to life in his mind. No, maybe I'm overthinking this. At the moment, at any rate, he had to get information on Bright Lightning from Kiryu. Sasuke immediately stood up and then cocked his head to one side. He heard a bang, like something popping. When he looked, he could see flames licking up into the sky from the village. Kiryu and his men couldn't possibly have escaped from the shed, could they? He raced back to Takino. But the sight spreading out before his eyes was different from the one he had imagined. The village shed was on fire. Perhaps it had been doused in oil. Pillars of flame rose up, surrounding the shed. The bamboo used for the shed heated up and split with successive bangs and pops. Sasuke caught sight of Chino and Milwaukee staring up at the burning shed, at a complete loss, and raced over to them. What's going on? Asked Sassy. Chino got a pained look on her face. While we weren't looking, old man IOU apparently set fire to the place. What? Where's IOU? Probably with them. Chino indicated the shed. So IOU had gone into the shed, poured oil all over, and set fire to the whole thing, himself alongside them? He asked about Dark Thunder's punishment, Chino murmured. He asked if they would be killed. And I said Konoha was kind to ninja, so they maybe wouldn't kill Kiryu. Sasuke bit his lip hard and stared at the shed. It was already too late to do anything. They finally managed to put the fire out, and he checked inside, but the bodies were in such a state that he couldn't tell which was Kiryu and which was IOU. I should have killed all the members of Dark Thunder, Chino said, looking down on the charred corpses. These words cast a dark shadow over Sasuke's heart. End of Chapter 2. Thank you for listening. Remember to like and subscribe for lots more.